Okay, so let's talk about Teresa Giudice. She was recently on her daughter Gia's podcast and had some interesting things to say about her fraud case in Real Housewives.
Right. She basically said that she feels a lot of what really happened with her legal situation, the important parts, they just weren't shown in New Jersey.
Yeah, she put it like, fans don't understand everything because it wasn't all aired.
And Gia agreed with her, didn't she? Saying it was very complex and mentioned editing cuts affecting how people saw it all.
Totally. And you remember the timeline, right? The guilty plea back in 2014, then her sentence, Joe's sentence.
And then she was right back filming almost immediately after getting out. It's quite the sequence of events.
And speaking of relationships on the show, she also gave an update on Jacqueline and Loretta. Sounds like things have really shifted there.
Yeah, that was surprising. She said, and I think this is a direct quote, Jackie and I are actually becoming really good friends. Like, not a joke. Like, I really like her.
Wow. Okay, so what's behind that turnaround?
Well, Teresa's take is that Jacqueline had people in her ear back then. And apparently Jacqueline admits that now.
Interesting. So she feels outside influences were a big part of their issues.
Seems that way. But Teresa also kind of took some responsibility. She said, I'm okay with Jackie doing what she did because I hurt Jackie.
Oh, okay. So owning her part in it too.
Exactly. Which, points towards maybe some personal evolution, which is actually something else she talked about.
Right. She compared herself now to how she was back in, like, season 1.
Mm-hmm. Describing that early version of herself as someone who would react really quick.
Yeah.
The very heated Italian person.
Yeah, she said she would get pissed off right away and fire my mouth off really quick. Her words.
But now, she says she moves at a slower pace. It's that kind of reflection you sometimes see from people who've been on these shows for years, under that constant spotlight.
Definitely. And the conversation also touched on her daughters. Teresa said she thought Gia and Melania were the ones most like me.
And Gia's reaction was pretty immediate, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Gia apparently said, I'm definitely more contained on so many levels. That's honestly like a fucking insult.
Huh. Sounds like a typical mother-daughter exchange, right? Clear disagreement there on personality types.
Totally. Teresa kind of playfully walked it back, saying, all right, so Melania is the most like me, you're second, on a very dimmed-down level.
But then Teresa brought up that clip from Gia's own show trailer.
Right, from Next Gen NYC, where Gia tells someone to shut the f*** up.
And Gia's defense was pretty quick fire, too.
Yep, that was literally one time. So maybe not always contained.
Seems like maybe those moments can still pop up. It's complicated, family resemblance. So if you want to keep up with all this, make sure you subscribe to Real Tea TV.
Yeah, and hit that bell icon. You don't want to miss our next breakdown.
Okay, next update we have about Erika Jayne. The legal issues just keep rolling on, huh?
Oh, absolutely. So the big one is the $25 million lawsuit from Thomas Girardi's bankruptcy trustee.
Right, the trustee trying to get money back for Girardi's alleged victims.
Exactly. And now it looks like there's a possibility of a jury trial, maybe even before the end of this year.
A jury trial? Wow.
Yeah, attorney Ronald Richards, who's been tracking this, pointed to a court date, June 4th, 2025, where they might actually set the trial date.
And Erika's position is that her company, EJ Global, owes the money, not her personally.
That's her argument, yeah. But apparently the California Franchise Tax Board has a different view of EJ Global's status.
How so?
Well, the details aren't fully public, but if the tax board sees it less as a legitimate separate business, that could complicate her defense significantly. It goes to whether those funds were improperly shielded.
Gotcha, okay. And wasn't there another lawsuit from a designer?
Yes. Marco Morante, the designer behind Marco Marco, he's suing her for $300,000.
Why again?
It stems from Erika accusing him, or his company, of fraudulent charges on her credit card back when things were really hitting the fan. He claims those accusations damaged his reputation.
Right, I remember that. So what's happened with that case?
Well, Erika has a new lawyer now, and they're trying to get it dismissed because of some previous administrative issue, like a filing error.
Wow.
But what's kind of curious is why Marco Morante's lawyers haven't pushed for a default judgment yet, when the other side doesn't respond properly.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Maybe they're negotiating behind the scenes. Or perhaps there's some other legal strategy at play. It's definitely a bit murky.
Always seems to be with these cases. Okay, moving away from legal dramas for a second. There's this resurfaced Kourtney Kardashian story.
Yeah, it's kind of random. A clip from that old show, Cocktails with Chloe, back in 2016. Kourtney was telling a story from way back in 2001.
2001? What happened?
She said she got socked in the face.
What? Where?
At Diddy's birthday party? At Tao, the nightclub?
No way.
Apparently she was waiting for the bathroom and someone cut in line, so she got punched.
overcutting in the bathroom line. That's insane.
Right. She sounded pretty emotional recounting it, even years later. And Chloe, of course, got all protective, wanting Chloe money to come out.
Ah, yeah, that sounds like Chloe.
And Diddy was actually on the show when she told the story. He sort of confirmed, yeah, someone did get punched in the bathroom line at his party, though he didn't seem to remember the specifics involving Kourtney.
Wild. But why is this clip coming up now?
Well, that's the thing. Given all the incredibly serious charges Diddy is facing now, racketeering, sex trafficking, this old kind of weird party anecdote suddenly feels different.
Ah, right. The context changes everything.
Exactly. It makes you look back at things differently, you know? Even seemingly small incidents from the past.
Yeah, definitely casts a shadow. Next update we have about Luann de Lesseps. She was talking about some classic RHONY moments.
Yes. Specifically, the infamous naked man incident from that Turks and Caicos trip.
Oh, God, yes. What did she say?
Well, she wanted to clarify again that the naked man wasn't her guest. He was Ramona Singer's guest.
Right. People always seem to associate it with Luann, though.
Probably because of her reaction, which gave us that amazing line.
Be cool, don't be all, like, uncool.
That's the one. And Luann actually said that line has become even more quoted and popular than "money can't buy you class."
Really? Wow.
Yeah, she seemed kind of amazed by it herself. Said Andy Cohen even called it out as like the line of that season.
It is pretty iconic. Did she share any other Ramona-related gems?
Oh, yes. She talked about another trip to the Hamptons this time, where Ramona apparently gave her the worst room.
Shocking. What was wrong with it?
Luann described it as a musty basement, complete with cobwebs and a TV that didn't even work. And Luann wasn't having it. She just packed up and left the house entirely.
Good for her. Sometimes you just gotta bail.
Right. Set some boundaries.
Okay, let's switch gears. Brynn Whitfield from RHONY.
Uh-huh. The buzz is she was seen making out. That's the quote with Sam Heughan.
Sam Heughan.
Yeah.
From Outlander.
That's the one. Apparently, this happened at a hotel in London, the Broadwick Soho.
Where did this report come from?
It started with Dumois, the Instagram gossip account.
Yeah.
Someone sent in a tip saying they were making out right in front of the restaurant, quote, zero given.
Okay, public display.
And then another Dumois report popped up suggesting it wasn't just a one-off makeout session, but that they might actually be dating now.
Oh, so it developed.
That's the suggestion. Brynn then flew back to London shortly after the first sighting. And she posted on Instagram confirming she was back in London with a friend.
Did she say anything?
The caption was, "The tea is hot." And she used a song with lyrics about being high on love.
Oh, she's definitely leaning into it then.
Seems like it. But, you know, it's still all speculation, no actual confirmation from either of them. And Brynn limited the comments on her post.
Smart move. Keeps
Yeah.
people talking without having to say anything concrete.
Exactly. Masterclass in generating buzz, maybe? We'll have to wait and see if anything more comes of it.
True. Okay, next update we have about Ramona Singer again, but this time talking about Sonja Morgan.
Right. Ramona did an interview with Entertainment Tonight and was asked about Sonja, especially after that recent incident in Florida involving an ambulance.
What did Ramona say about how Sonja's doing?
She just said she's great, she's doing well, kind of brushed it off.
Okay. And the ambulance thing.
Yeah.
What was Ramona's explanation for that?
Ramona claimed Sonja called 911, but not for herself. She said Sonja called for an elderly person at the venue who needed medical help.
Is that what the official report said?
Well, no, that's where it gets tricky. The police reports mention that Sonja was given a trespass warning, which she apparently didn't sign, and there was no mention at all of another person needing medical attention.
So pretty big difference in the stories there.
A huge discrepancy, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what actually happened, or at least why the accounts are so different.
Definitely. Did Ramona say anything about potentially returning to RHONY now that it's paused?
Nope. She shut that down, said she has zero interest.
Really?
Yeah, she listed off all the things she's enjoying now: golf, tennis, traveling, working out. Said she feels her best and isn't looking back.
Good for her, I guess. Enjoying her time.
Seems like it. And regarding the show itself being paused, she just kind of said, Bravo knows what they're doing. Very diplomatic.
Fair enough. Okay, next update we have about Ariana Madix. She did an interview with Bustle recently, gave a bit of an update.
Yeah, it gives us a sense of, you know, where her head's at after everything with Vanderpump Rules.
So who's she actually keeping in touch with from the show?
Well, Katie Maloney, definitely. They talk daily, mostly because of their sandwich shop business. Something about her.
Makes sense. Anyone else?
She mentioned Scheana Shea, not as often, but like birthday check-ins, that kind of thing. And then Dana Kathan is still a close friend, too.
Right. And what did she say about the whole Vanderpump cast changing and her moving over to host Love Island USA.
Honestly, she seemed pretty unbothered by the Vanderpump stuff ending, or at least the original cast dynamic, focused on Love Island.
And Scheana's writing a memoir about Lisa Vanderpump.
Apparently so. And Ariana, well, she said she's thinking about maybe writing one herself.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but she's not sure, like, what the angle would be yet. It's a big undertaking, a memoir.
Totally. Finding the right story to tell. What about the sandwich shop with Katie? How's that going?
Sounds like it's progressing. She said their rapport, their working relationship is really key to getting through the usual small business challenges.
Good for them. And future reality TV for her. Is she done?
Not completely, it seems. She's open to it, but she was very specific. Said it has to be the right show, the right team, and the right tone.
Okay. So specific conditions.
Very. And she added she would never do anything like Vanderpump Rules again. Pretty definitive.
Wow. Okay. Never say never, but that sounds firm.
It really does. Suggests she wants something very different if she does go back to reality TV. Less intense drama, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Okay, lastly, let's touch on the Valley. What were some highlights from the latest recap?
Well, the drama continues, obviously. Janet is still bringing up Danny's drinking after that Santa Barbara trip.
Still? What now?
She told a story about him apparently chugging tequila in the pantry. It's clearly still a source of tension.
Yeah, sounds like it. How's Nia handling all this?
It got pretty emotional for Nia. She actually opened up about experiencing homelessness in her past.
Wow, really?
Yeah, she explained that's why she tries to maintain such a positive outlook now. It gave a lot more context to her personality and how she reacts to conflict.
That's heavy. Puts things in perspective.
Definitely. We also saw Scheana Shay pop up on the show.
Oh, a Vanderpump crossover. What was she doing?
She was talking with Michelle about her relationship problems. You know, Michelle's boyfriend, Aaron, and the issues because of her ex, Jesse.
Right, that whole triangle.
Exactly. And speaking of Jesse, he had a session with a life coach on camera.
Oh, really? What about?
They talked about Michelle apparently cheating in the past, and the coach was advising Jesse to take some accountability himself. You know, typical reality TV therapy session.
Got it. Any other big updates?
Just that Luke and Kristen have officially put their wedding plans on pause.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
Because their baby girl is due soon. So focusing on that first. Makes sense.
Totally practical.
And they also talked about not planning to stay in Los Angeles forever. Luke especially seems keen to eventually move back to Colorado or maybe to some land he bought in Indiana.
Interesting. Leaving the LA life behind eventually.
Seems to be the plan, yeah. Focusing on family and maybe a different pace of life down the road.
So if you want to keep up with all this, make sure you subscribe to Real Tea TV.
Yeah, and hit that bell icon. You don't want to miss our next breakdown.
Thank you for watching this video. See you tomorrow.